Hello, hello. Welcome to a very special episode of MCVC. As you can see, there's another weird guy with us today. So, let me properly introduce our buddy Kris. Say hello, Kris.
Hi.
Yes. All right, everybody. Sweet. Yeah, for anyone who ends up watching this video, this is Kris, as I've established. Today, we are going to be talking about things that kind of, also I just want to say this is our first ever episode, 40 episodes deep, being together, so props to that, right?
Yeah.
Collin's place.
I was going to say, it's special for more than one reason, like, we're together. Yeah.
So, just like that. But anyways, no, we're just going to be talking about roughly, because our buddy Kris here has a lot of things he likes to bitch about, so we're going to talk about things we like to bitch about.
Yeah.
And, yeah, why not?
What rubs us the wrong way? So, Kris, take it up. What rubs you the wrong? What just fucking grinds your gears, man?
Oh, to start, no, I'm kidding.
Damn, I thought we were going to just go simple at first. You want to go right into it? Well, fine.
No, things that really, you want to know what really bothers me? I just thought of this the other day. My dad did it. It ticked me off. Because going to his bathroom, and he grabbed the toothpaste tube right in the middle of the toothpaste. Why are people such savage animals? You can't just simply push it up to the bottom. Instead, we grab the middle of it and leave this fucking atrocious looking.
Did you ever make it clear how much that annoys you?
Yeah, he laughed at me.
Well, then maybe he just does it to get a rise out of you.
No, he just does it all the time. It's just this thing.
I've actually had this conversation with one of my buddies before, because the method I do with toothpaste is I sit there and I squeeze like at the very base and I roll it up. Like I'm such a stickler about like wasting toothpaste. But yeah, I'm sorry you have daddy issues.
Minute and 45 seconds in, and Kris has daddy issues. All right,
bro, good start. All right, how about you take it from there, Collin? Let's go to circle. Let's measure one thing that pisses us off.
Oh, fuck. I probably should have thought of something before we started this.
Oh, yeah. Colin's just too happy a guy to get mad about it. Well, now he's pissed at Kris.
Fucking Kris. What do you see here? People who share everything about their life on Snapchat. Fuck those people.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I'm at the coffee shop. Oh my god, I'm driving from the coffee shop to home. Oh my god, I'm home now. Oh my god.
Listen to this song that's on the radio.
Doing my podcast right now. Going up on the Snap.
Fuck you. No, just like anybody who shares too much about their life. Well, it doesn't have to be Snapchat. Just anything about life. It's like, my salamander is molting in skin today. It's like, cool.
I think my salamander's depressed. He just doesn't seem like he's. I don't mind when people share things about their life. I hate when they share something that just sounds stupid. Like that, and they expect people to be sympathetic of it or to have some kind of concern or care.
Yeah,
it's like it seems like you're trying to grab attention.
Or
the shit day is so terrible. Posts on Facebook.
I'm having a terrible day. Somebody comments, "Oh, what's going on?" DM me. Don't do that.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put on your public feed where hundreds of people are gonna see, "Oh, I'm having a bad day," don't make it, "Oh, I'm having a bad day" public, and then, "Oh, you want to learn more about it?" DM.
Well, then it's like,
no, I'm not gonna.
Well, if you're at that point, if you really need to talk to somebody, why didn't you just message them first? And now it just seems like you kind of just want to see who's going to talk to you, and it sounds like you want someone to talk to you. Which is like, then just talk to somebody. You don't have to sit there and use this kind of weird method to sit there to get someone to socialize with you. You can literally just talk to people in your life. If you don't feel like you got people in your life, I don't know, watch our podcast, message us. We'll probably ignore you, but I'm just kidding. But no, that's the thing. It's like you literally can just reach out to your family, your friends. Don't make it a public outcry. Because when you do that, not many people will actually take you serious anymore when you're actually having a serious issue. Because they're just going to be like, oh, they're just crying wolf again.
Yeah.
Now, like, if you're posting something like, what good side of those things is like, oh, yeah, like, it's been 5 years cancer-free or something like that. Like, those ones are motivational. Those are more like, hey, you're recognizing your life and you value the life you have. That's cool. Or, like, when you're doing that kind of stuff, when you talk about something bad, but you want to let people know that you came over it, like you got over it. And that's cool. So I support those kind of posts because those might be inspiring to your friends and family. It might actually cheer them up to hear you're doing it. But so if everyone just keeps up that trend of constantly crying, yeah, it's frustrating because it's like, we are surrounded by enough negativity in the world. There's so much negativity around us. And to continue to feed into it and not try to put your own positive spin on it can just overwhelm people.
Yeah,
Makes
for
sense.
sure. What about you, Mike? What rubs you the wrong way?
My jeans sometimes. Yeah, gotta start hitting the gym again.
No.
No.
I'm sorry, your vagina hurts.
I'm sorry, your micro penis is acting up. You're getting all excited right now.
That's a micro penis, so I'm fucking.
Poor guy.
I'm off the spectrum.
This is Mark's cock, Kris.
Dude, I'm off the spectrum, and not on the good side of the spectrum either.
So this is going to be one of my things that really pisses me off, and you guys probably, because like, I'm not that short a guy, but I have a lot of taller friends. Like, I'm roughly a little under the average height. And this, most people are like, oh, here's another short guy gonna say he's mad about being short. No. I'm not mad about that. I'm mad that people have to make height a big deal over things, and they expect short guys to be angry about their height. They expect you to be an asshole because they think you're gonna be angry, and it's like
You're an angry little elf.
Because short guys suck.
yeah, well, I mean, tall guys aren't much better.
Yeah,
It may suck, but you take it in the ass.
I figured out his loss in IQ is from hitting his head on door frames all the time.
Dude, no. Story time.
Yeah,
Story time.
Story time.
Okay, I was
That's
walking
so
to a
funny.
gas station one day. Stopped at the boom truck. I'm like, all right, I need some fixins because I'm hungry and stuff. So I'm walking in, and the chain that hangs from the door that keeps it from swinging way too far open in the wind took my
Actually,
hat right
Kris,
off
let's
my
give
head.
him perspective here. Let's just go stand up. Let's show him how, like, let's see.
Kris, where's your hat?
Oh,
So,
yeah, it took my hat off, and I was actually upset because I never had that happen before, and made me feel stupid for a little bit.
well, and this is the thing, too. And also, that's another, I just hate people approach you differently based off your height. And, like, I understand there's a psychological impact there. Obviously, Kris, you're taller, so, like, some people, I'm sure there's always been someone, like, I don't know if it's ever happened. Have you ever had someone in your life like, why are you looking down on me? Like, because I have to.
No, I
Or,
haven't.
Okay.
how's the weather up there?
Yeah, right?
I never
Like,
got that one either.
okay. Well, you're a simple man who lives in a farmer's life, so.
I just get a lot of, oh, fuck, you're tall.
Really? I didn't notice.
No idea. No idea. Duck everywhere, but it's fine.
And that's the thing. And, like, all right, I'm going to say something a little controversial here because, like, I hate it when people try to use the comparison with height that, like, people bitch about to weight. It's like, if you're not happy with your body, you can change it. If you're happy with your body, love your body. But don't sit there and compare the two because one is genetic, and some body weight issues are genetic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, like, a thing. But if you're not happy with who you are,
You can always change
yeah.
Even
So
if it is genetic, I mean, you can get through a lot of it.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, don't expect somebody
To feel sympathy for you because you have weight problems.
especially if you bitch about it. If you bitch about it, then, like, they'll make it a thing. Like, you're making it a thing.
Yeah.
But if you love yourself, yeah, not everyone's gonna like you. But if you want to change that, you can. Whereas people who are very tall, very short, or whatever, there's people who have insecurities about everything. Height has never been like it was when I was younger. That was a big thing. I was so annoyed by it. I was always annoyed. I was one of those guys for a bit. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's too short. I have 2 functioning legs. I have 2 functioning arms. I'm not that bad looking. I'm fit. Like, it's like there could be so much worse things going on in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like when I think about it like that, it's like, man, people spend too much time griping. So I'm actually gonna generalize this. People bitch too much about the little things. That, and if it's something you can't change,
Like
why?
the toothpaste.
Yeah.
Well, even kind of going off the height thing, and it's like a dumb stereotype. It's like dick size, not because of the sexual aspect of it, but it's like, oh, if you got a big dick, you're confident, you got money in the bank, you're going somewhere in life. If you got a small dick, it's like, oh, I need a little. It's like that has nothing to do with it.
No, like people get so hyped up. I hate me.
That's why
a guy that's like, oh, my dick's bigger than yours. I'm like, oh, cool story, bro.
Dude, like, first off,
Thanks.
how did you know? How long were you staring at my penis?
Yeah.
Were you doing like math in your head? Were you calculating the measurements while I was standing in front of you?
By my calculation.
By my calculations, he curves to the left slightly and he hangs at a good quality 3. Like, soft. Like, whoa. But that's the thing. It's like, all those things that people can't change about themselves. Like, now if you are, say, on the other side of things, like if you're a girl and you care about superficial things, expect to be treated in a superficial way. If you're a guy, if you care about superficial things, expect to get treated in a superficial way. And then when you bitch about it, when you're like, why do people treat me like this? Well, because you set it up for yourself. You made people treat you like that because that's what you treat other people like. And so you can't get mad. You can't. If you can. You mentally will get mad, but you don't have any right to be mad because you chose to do that. Now, if someone is harassing you and bullying you about something you can't change, that's different. Then yeah, if you're an adult, punch them in the face for whatever reason. If there's a kid watching this, I hope none of you are kids because we swear up done and say some bad things. But if you're a kid, yeah,
your discretion is advised.
Like stand up for yourself as much as you can or get an adult. And that goes to the people out there with kids too. Encourage your kids to fucking stand up for themselves and to the point where they're not the bully though. But here's the thing, overall, like just focus on your dreams. Focus on turn them into goals, make yourself happy, get over the bullshit, get past the little things. So that's just one thing I say. And like I've had my own issues with it. We all do. It's a constant thing you're working towards and growing towards, but allow yourself a chance to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself the chance to open your perspective, understand the world around you. Don't just make a preconceived, perceptive view of somebody because you think one thing of them because of another person that you met that wasn't like them. Like I've seen that too. Like someone will be like, "Well, you look like this person. That person was an asshole." Well, okay. Like, I'm sorry they're so good looking. Like, not my fault. But it's just like one of those things. It's just like don't. No, like wait for somebody. It's kind of like don't judge the book by its cover, unless that book cover is literally like, I fucking hate you. But going from there, Kris, what's your next grinding moment? What is something like it could be a situation, it could be a belief, non-religious or political. It could be a story that just pissed you off a lot. It could even be relationship concepts. It could be even foods. I don't care, man. Whatever you got.
I hate the sympathy card thing. The people that are always pulling for people to feel bad for them. Like, feel bad for me. My brother did this, and it annoyed the hell out of me. Because we give him all the opportunities we can to help him out, and then he says, "Oh, you guys never help me. You don't feel bad for me. You don't do nothing with me." It's like, well, because one, you never come around. Two, you fucking just do stupid shit with your money. So, and then we give you shit to make it better, and it goes gone. So I don't pull sympathy cards. If you want something to change in your life, freaking do it.
Yeah.
There's no reason you should be sitting around moping, waiting for somebody else to take care of you.
Yeah. And this is one thing I'll make a point about that. And my roommate actually taught me about this because this is something I was having an issue with. Because it's like, and like to any of my friends out there listening, if you guys watch this, it's not directed at you. It's more of a understanding thing about myself. When you set expectations with people, when you help out people a lot, some people, not all, some people will get the idea that this is how they should be treated by you all the time now. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's like, well, you did this for me before, but if that person's not changing, they're not going to think they're the problem now because it's almost like the whole like enabling action. Yeah. You're enabling them to not grow. Sometimes people need to feel pressure. Sometimes people need to be left alone to realize that, holy shit, I did something wrong. Because if they don't think they're doing anything wrong, they're not going to
doing it.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything to change it because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. The people in their life are continuing to support them and push them through it. No matter what you say, it's not getting through because at the end of the day, the only thing that will get through to some of these people is that they need to be isolated. They need to be pushed away so that they can either fall. It may fall hard. But and I'm not saying turn away people who are in dire need of help. I'm saying the people that you constantly help, like your brother, right. And like other people, like the people you're constantly putting into, but you just don't see any forward momentum in them. There's no progress in their life. They're not building towards a better thing. Because then you're just losing at that point. Right. Mm-hmm. You're not gaining because you're not getting to gain the satisfaction of watching them get better because they're not allowing that. So at that point, you're only losing. You're only setting yourself back.
Oh, absolutely.
And it'll put you under a lot more stress. So it's like self-focus more. Think about and I'm glad that you're taking that approach too, because it's like, you know what, I'm just like, just be more self-focused in it. Like, you know what, fuck your feelings right now because I did what I could for you. I did what I could for you. You weren't there to recognize it, and that's your choice, not mine. I did everything I could.
That's the other thing that's irritating is the overly sensitive people that will come with the sympathy thing. Well. Like, don't be so damn sensitive. Yeah. Somebody says something that offends you, just get over it because is that comment really going to change your life in any way? Probably not.
Well, and here's the thing. If you think of it as the way I would approach that is if you think of it as a learning point, if they say something super ignorant and they just seem like they don't know what they're saying, educate them. If you want them to understand something, don't come at them at their level. Come at them at a level that you respect yourself at. Say someone's like, walks up to somebody and is like, wow, you look like a faggot. Be like, well, I'm going to let you know, actually, there's not a really designation of anyone who's homosexual with that derogatory slur, if that's how you're using it. And first off, I'm actually into women. And it's just stuff like that. And you can just educate them on that. And then if they continue to be an asshole, it's like, all right, well, now you're just a dick. So you can go soundly fuck off. And I'm going to enjoy my day because you're not going to ruin it. And then you can just leave it at that. Because it's like, there will always be people, I don't know if it's still the bullshit insecurities that they had when they were bullies in school or whatever it was, whatever drives some of these people to not grow up and change. They're gonna constantly put others down. They're gonna constantly say stupid shit.
Right.
And like people who have a sensitive heart, they're kind of stuck in that high school mentality too of being the victim though. And it's like, I'm not saying anyone who gets hurt is a victim. I'm saying that if you don't do anything to change it and you just let it continue to happen to you, you're victimizing. And at that point, like if you're not reaching out to get away from it, if you're not just able to walk away, take a breath and realize, you know what, your life's awesome, you have deeper problems. You got to work on those. You got to figure that out. Because if you are letting, especially a stranger's words of all things, like fuck what a stranger has to say. Right. Honestly, what does that person mean to you?
The guy ain't gonna,
like
he plays zero role in your life at all.
Exactly. So if a stranger is going to say something to you that's offensive, like, yeah, you have the right to defend yourself verbally. I always say start verbally. And if they get physical confrontation with you, defend yourself physically if you need to, and then just remove yourself from the situation.
Well, I see it on social media all the time. People, TikTok is big with it. Constantly, there's freaking somebody bashing somebody's video. Big deal. Why you gotta bash it in the first place?
Yeah,
because if you don't like it, keep scrolling. There's more shit on there.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta ruin your day because of that one video on TikTok.
It's those keyboard warriors.
Well, we've talked about this before with the video games you play with Rocket League. There's a lot of toxicity because a lot of people feel safe. They feel safe because they have that anonymity. They feel like they are not touchable. They feel like they can just say whatever they want, and they get some weird sick sense of gratification out of it, or they're like, oh, I was just joking. And it's like, if your brain literally is, oh, it's just a joke, when you're like, some of these people are literally saying horrible things. They're like telling these content creators to kill themselves, or like, you should die. And like, it's like, okay, well, what makes you...
That was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. Well, what a great joke. And that's the thing. If someone says something that you can tell is not a joke like that to you, like says something really fucked up, don't laugh. Question them. Ask them. Be like, hey, that wasn't funny. Why'd you say it? Just say it. Simply as that. It's like, that was not funny to me. Why'd you say it? And then challenge them. Because if they can't think of anything to say, if they can't justify what they said, well, then that just tells you everything you need to know about them.
I do it all the time on like Xbox. If I'm playing somebody and then like they like personally message me, they're like, oh, you're trash. And like, I feel like 90% of the time, whoever like people like that say that stuff to, they just like they don't say anything. I look at it as one of the like I have thick skin and like I'm just like not like I don't really give a fuck. Like this person I am never gonna talk to them again. I'm never gonna physically see them in person. So it's like I don't care. It's like, but you know what? I look at that situation as okay. What can I do to like prevent this from happening to other people? Because I'm a pretty like I said, I'm an easygoing person and like that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. But then I think about what if somebody is having a bad day? What if somebody is on the brink of suicide or just like in that really rough point in their life? They turn to video games as that release to kind of take the mind off of things.
And then there's people
like that who say, "Oh, you're trash. Go kill yourself." They don't. That person on the other end of that message, they could go kill themselves.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at that situation as, okay, can I bring this person back down to earth, deflate their ego, and try to prevent this from happening to other people? And sometimes it triggers these people more, and they lash out more, and whatever, that they're a lost cause. But there are some conversations I have with people that it literally gets to the point where it's one thing I say, and it either gets them to break or it triggers them more and releases more anger. Is, hey, man, whatever you got going on in your life that's got you down, I hope it gets better.
Right.
I literally say that, and sometimes they just like break, and they're like, you're right, man. It's like, I'm sorry. And it's just like it's crazy to just have somebody who literally 5 minutes ago was lashing out at me. It's like, oh, I fucked your mom. Oh, you're trash. It's like, uninstall your game. You're not good. Then all of a sudden, by saying one thing, they're like, yeah, sorry, man, I got this going on, whatever. It's like, oh, hope it gets better, man. Like, hope. And then sometimes you're like, oh, like I got everything going in my life and blah blah blah. It's like, and then they all of a sudden give me a list of like, oh, I fuck good, beautiful chicks. I got a 6-figure bank account. I got a nice car. This and that, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, if you have all of these good things going for you, why are you this terrible person?
Right.
So,
well, to touch back on something you said too, when you're talking about like how like the stress release that some of these people get like playing video games because it's like it's to help them get through the hard days and like even other things. Everyone has a hobby. That's something that they just do for themselves. It's not for anybody else, and that's the thing. And when people take that away from them, it does drive them down that deeper hole. And if you're one of those kind of people who can sit there and try to justify your ignorant actions, your attitude, you're the worst of the worst to me because then you to me don't seem savable at that point because it's like if you think you're right for saying the shitty things you do to people, you're like, well, it's just part of the system. You need to get thicker skin. It's like no. There's the banter. There's the typical like frustrations you get with people. Say you just someone rubs you the wrong way. That's normal. You're not gonna like everyone. Not everyone's gonna like you.
Right.
But then there are those people who go out of their way to deliberately do this. They go out of their way to make your life hell. They're narcissistic. I don't know what their issues are beyond that, but they got this problem with control. They got this thing where they just got to drive you down. And maybe it's because someone did that to them because they feel so small inside. But the thing is, if they get to that level where they can't come back, it's just like, I have nothing to say to you. I can't wait for the day you die alone because that's what's going to happen. Because you're going to drive yourself down this. Even if you live a successful life, your family's going to hate you because you're going to be so isolated from your family. They're going to hate you even though they're there for you. Say you get married, say you have kids, whatever. You have a good paying job. But at the end of the day, when you're laying on your deathbed, say you make it to be an old man and your family's around, and like, the second you pass, like, thank God that bastard's gone.
yeah.
Like, do you really want to be that guy? Do you really want to be that lady? Do you really want to be that person at the end of your last breath? The only things people have to say about you is like, fuck, finally. Like, I want people to remember me as someone who was there, someone who cared, someone who did his most for people. And that's how I think everyone should, in some way, everyone should set a goal for themselves. It doesn't necessarily have to be mine, but like you should set something, like kind of like a living will in your head. Like, what is it I leave behind? What is the impact I leave on this world? Even the smallest thing, because everyone thinks it needs to be like this big
money payout.
Yeah.
When you're gone, but it's not that.
And that's the thing. It's
Not
like
at all.
you don't need to be a millionaire. You don't need to have a million friends. Everyone's so obsessed with the million concept. I need a lot. I need a lot. No, dude. If you could change one person's life.
Keep it stupid simple.
Exactly. Kiss the world, man. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And you just keep pushing forward. You keep setting these small goals for yourself. You're going to live a happy life because you're going to succeed. When you set those high, beyond the, like, and it's okay to have one high expectation. It's okay. Like, if I want to be a 6-figure person. Doesn't mean I'm going to waste my life thinking about it. I'm going to enjoy my life in the process of building towards it. And so just don't become a bastard, essentially. And with that, what grinds your gears, Collin?
Yeah, it's back to me. Oh yeah, I remembered it. Spelling errors, but like in ways that can be avoidable. So like, obviously, I'm not expecting like if I just like tell a person on the spot, hey, spell this word, and I'm talking about like, especially with how much it's like the internet, social media is in our
like
lives.
a textbook or something too. Like,
yeah, just like anything in general that literally can be avoidable, and just like it's kind of going back to my first point of just like seeing stuff that people post, but it's just like seeing spelling errors when literally it corrects it for you.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I guess it's just the carelessness of presenting yourself properly too. Kind of ties into that.
Cool if I caveat off that a little bit. So like going off of that too, it's like especially if you're posting something that's supposed to be like heartfelt, like because it seems like it's something you put your time into. And I understand shorthand. I know what people shorthand stuff, but like if you're actually trying to say something sincere, why bother? Or like something educational, because it doesn't make you sound educated for one. It doesn't. Like even if you're saying something, like not to say you're not educated. It's just the assumption is going to be drawn right away that either you're not educated or you just didn't care enough to actually, vet what you're typing there, to like actually reread what you're saying to other people to make sure it's actually something worth saying. either this means you speed typed it because you were either frustrated with what someone else said or that like you're just trying to get it out there quick. And sometimes that's okay. If you're in an emotional moment, sometimes you're fast typing, whatever. But beyond that, if you're trying to like just actually explain something, explain it a little bit more. I don't know. I guess they like
gusto.
Yeah, a little more gusto. More just like like it's that proper grammar. Honestly, just helps really someone retain what you're saying too. Because if there's just like, and it also helps people's attention spans. People's attention spans, like that's what grinds my gears. People's attention spans are gone. Like mine is shit. Everyone's is shit now because of social media and all that. And like, I just be attentive. Be attentive to the things around you. Be attentive to your friends, your family, yourself, because you can actually not realize you're not happy. You can think you're happy, but you're not happy. Be attentive to your feelings. Be attentive to the world around you. You can realize there can be the people who don't do something when something bad is happening under the pretext of that, like, oh, well, someone else is gonna deal with it. Maybe someone won't. Like, it's okay to sometimes want to help. Figure out where you can help, I guess is the best way to put it. So, but yeah, no, that's one thing that really grinds my gears about that. Just that whole like idea in itself. But there was one more I was gonna say that's kind of like good actors in a movie that has a horrible script pisses me off. I fucking can't stand it because I know
you're
when
like scrolling through and you're like, damn, good actors. You kidding?
Exactly.
And the movie is absolute garbage.
One perfect example of that is Adam Sandler. Like he has, I would say, not north of 90% of his movies are great. Once in a great while, it seems like with kind of his Netflix stuff, really a lot of Netflix originals where they can somehow get a high name actor or actress on there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I like this person, and you watch it, and like 10 minutes in, you already know, you're like, I'm not gonna like the rest of this.
Can we all agree that Netflix is like way downhill? They're eating crap on
They
Netflix
keep taking more
anymore.
stuff off every
I
day.
mean, like you gotta buy like 3 different streaming sites just so you can watch TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm at right now. Yeah, I fucking Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Netflix, and there's not even everything like The Office is on fucking Peacock, I think. Well, it's like the only streaming service that has.
That was
The
a
Office.
Netflix original, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
well, no, it wasn't an original. It was just Netflix had it for the longest time.
Oh yeah.
And they just took it off. Same thing with the show Friends.
Yeah.
That's another one that I think Hulu has it now.
Prime has it. You can get it on Prime, I think.
Okay.
One movie I really like, I enjoyed. A lot of people hated, and it was just because it wasn't just so much the script either. It was just the costume designs, everything like that. Was the original Daredevil with Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck is actually a really good actor, but in that movie, he just came off he did everything he could with the role within the confines of the script.
Yeah.
And it's like, seeing other actors have to endure that too, and it's like, I get it, you think this would be it is a big property, stuff like that. It's like, you think this will win, but like, sometimes I just like, and I feel like maybe there should be more consulting about scripts, and maybe like review, like after, like, just realize like, hey, this kind of sounds like shit sometimes, like, or be like, this is not, this takes you out of the movie. Like, you think they'll just have like, and they even have test boards that they run these through. And it's like, how is this making it through? Sometimes I know it's like, oh, I'm one person compared to the masses. Maybe other people don't think of it like that. But like, some of these scenes are so very obviously take you out of the movie, and it's just like, what happened? This is a great actor. This is a great crew. Like, I don't understand where this went wrong. So that's just one thing that always pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
Your turn, Kris.
My turn again?
We'll go around the room one more time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what we haven't covered yet. Well, people that do not get up to speed when they merge on the highway. You have no freaking idea how retarded that is.
Oh.
And you think it's my job in my 60,000 pound truck to move my ass over to make room for you to get on the fucking highway? No. Dude, come on. It's yield to the traffic that's flowing.
I definitely
not
feel
be
that.
A hindrance. And then they're half the time they're fucking texting on the way down. You know, they don't even look in their mirror. They just come swinging over. Good luck, everybody else.
Yeah, plays back into what I said. Be attentive. People are not attentive.
So airheaded.
People gotta understand the difference between self-focused and self-centered, because there's some people who get so wrapped up into the idea of self that they just think that texting is a priority while driving, literally merging onto a 50-ass highway, stuff like that. That's just a good example right there. That it's like, holy shit, you are not just jeopardizing your life. You can't be that self-centered. Anytime you get on the road, you are putting other people's lives at risk.
Yeah. Honestly, I look at somebody texting and driving the same as somebody drunk driving.
Yeah,
I blow my air horn at them. They usually drop their phone. It's great.
If you catch them at the right time on a summer day, that phone goes out the window.
Just hear like in the back, asshole.
Yeah, no, just driving like with the job that I work now, I travel like everywhere all the time. So like I don't know, since like getting driver's license at 16, it's like you kind of like you run into some like idiots on the road now and then, but it's just like I'm literally on the road hours and hours every day. And I don't know if it's just where I live, like in Eau Claire here, being only like an hour from Minnesota, but there's a lot of mix of Wisconsin and Minnesota drivers, and it's not a difference whatsoever.
It's just like by Green Bay, there's so many Illinois that come through there. You know, by Madison, Milwaukee, it's so many Illinois drivers. Everybody calls them Peeves because they know the piss out of us. But it's like nothing against Illinois. I mean, you know, you're.
Well, yeah, there's good
the
and bad
same
drivers
people as
everywhere.
anywhere else, but it's just so annoying because I know the driving styles are different between the states.
Oh, definitely.
Adjust your driving style when you get into that different state.
Yeah, it's not that like you just kind of. It's
not hard to educate yourself while you're going.
No,
it's pretty simple.
Yeah. A couple years ago, I went on a fucking road trip, literally from like Wisconsin through the Dakotas, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Cal. Like I went through, I don't know, probably somewhere between 10 and 15 states. Never got pulled over once. Never had somebody honk at me, and never really like just got into a point where I'm like, so you know what? I'm a competent person.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and I guess someone kind of just get where it lies. Sure.
Oh yeah. Close-minded people. People who have their mindset on one way, and like I won't dive into it, but like religion and politics, obviously being two of the biggest things.
But it's usually the older generation that's like that.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, we're kind of in that middle ground where like, because I'm like right at the edge of millennial.
Right.
I think you are millennial. Yeah, both of us are like a month after I was born, switched to Gen Z. Yeah.
Something like that.
So I'm kind of like, it's funny. Like I talk to people who are Gen Z who are like younger. It's weird to think that like because I'm at that close brink between a millennial and a Gen Z that it's like you think I'd be a mix of the two. But also like I talk to some people who are Gen Z and they're far more like developed than I am, even though we're only a couple months apart. Which is, I don't understand that like how that works either, as far as like how it's just like boom, change in generation and how that just changes the mindset. And like one thing that's stupid too is like fucking like signs. Like Sagittarius and Aries and Cancer and Gemini and all that shit. How that like how that shit like and like I could like no. I feel like because people see it like, oh, these are my characteristics that I'm supposed to act like because I was born at this time of year.
That's silly.
And like,
you just which is are who you are. Why are you waiting for something else to tell you who you are? You're supposed to figure that out on your own.
Well, and what's weird,
once you're an adult, you shouldn't be worrying about the sign and then be the people that are like, oh, we ain't compatible because I'm this sign and you're that sign. Yeah. And they don't get along.
Well, what's weird too is like, because like I'm a Sagittarius born in December, and like my parents and my sister, they're all born 8 or 9 days apart from each other. So they're all, I think, Cancer. June, end of June and July. July. But it's weird how like they're all kind of anxious, kind of like I wouldn't say wild type, but like you guys know both my parents and my sister, and then I'm kind of the wild card in the family, where I'm different. So it's like it's weird, and it's like I don't want to believe in the whole because you're this sign, this is the way you're supposed to act kind of thing. But it's weird because all three of them act very similar, and they're born at relatively the same time. I mean, I was born in a very different part of the year, and I'm a different.
I do believe that. I do believe in some way that if you're born in a different time of the year, obviously has a different physical effect on you. It makes sense. Yeah. Sort of.
Well, the way I look at it is I'm Sagittarius, so I was born in December. It's a very gloomy, dark time of the year. So why am I not a depressed, mopey person?
So let me ask you a question then. Are you this way because you're a Sagittarius and they're Cancers, or are you like this because of learned behavior over time, learning that, because the thing is, you are different than your sister. Yes, yours is more like your parents. Women tend to like what favor their family. Like I'd say, like men are the ones who like strike out on their own, where women are the ones who kind of like they stay in the nest for a bit longer. Typically, that's how it's kind of seen. Waiting, like because if you want to look at it from the old school conservative concept values, it's like men are the ones who are supposed to strike out on their own, become men, stuff like that. So you were instantly starting to already try to forge your identity from the second you became a man. Then that's the thing. It's because you were pushed on that because you came from those old ideas too. It's like you need to become a man, you need to step up, you needed to do this stuff. So it was like you instantly started developing the sense of self, the sense of your own ideology, whereas your sister probably more likely leaned into the familial concepts, the things that she knows, the comfort zone, because that's where her psychologically she's at. Whereas like this is just it's just the way it is because that's what she learned from the most is her parents. She stayed close to the family, she stayed close to home. Whereas your thing was just constantly like I need out.
Yeah,
and that could be part of it.
It's definitely.
I figure some of that probably comes from the fact of who was rode harder through their schooling years. When you're growing up in your family, who was the child that got off easy and who was the kid that got all the
I feel like that's in a lot of cases it's first and second child. So my parents were a lot harder on my sister. Here's your curfew. Don't hang out with these people. That kind of thing. And for me, I got a little bit of that, but like even growing up, I could see like wow, like my sister gets treated more strictly than me. So like my sister's like, oh, you have curfew, be back at this time. I go out, I'm like, hey, I'm going out with like friends or have a date or go out with girlfriends. Like, when are you gonna be back? Oh, I'm not sure. Okay, sounds good. My sister said that, I'd be like, no, what time are you getting back? Yeah. It's like,
well, and that could be part of the development of you becoming yourself too, because of that, their lack of need to constantly monitor you.
You have the freedom to choose for yourself.
Yeah, you came into your own understanding of yourself. And along with the whole thing, getting back to the main point that like closed-minded people, it's like I think, and like we're talking about astrology and all that stuff. It's like I think people really crave the need to have a title. They crave the need to have some answer, something, be it politics, be it religion, be it I don't know the stars. Everyone is just searching for some kind of answer or some kind of support structure. And some people latch to politics. They're like, oh, these views align with mine, without realizing fully what they're understanding or reading or looking at. Because the whole political structure is chaotic. And that's the thing. It's like and if you don't educate yourself on politics, you may just think that you're supporting the right idea. And that's why I don't like going into politics. So personally, I don't lean one way or the other. I don't care. I care about the safety of the people of my country. I care about the growth and the development of young minds and the constant reminder to the older, more set in their ways minds that life is changing and it will move on with or without you. So you either get to accept the things that aren't going to impact you in a negative way, but just don't sit in the same realm of what you come from, or you are going to have to just be considered part of the bad side of things because that's just how it goes. And does it make you bad? To me, it's like, well, you're ignorant now because you don't want to give yourself the chance to learn something different. And I know as you get older, it's harder. It gets harder. So many people get stuck in their ways. They get stuck in these ideas, but doesn't mean it's impossible? No. So that's not even a justification. It's not. So, and the younger crowd, though, needs to get a lot more educated, too. Not saying there's not a lot of educated ones. There are, but it's like, you got to understand where this culture's coming from.
This is what worries me about the future of the world is freaking the whole coronavirus thing has got school shut down. How many kids are getting homeschooled? There is so many of them out there because I know for a fact that there's not a lot of discipline in households anymore for the children. There's not strict sets for their kids. Yeah. And there's kids out there that are just flaking on it. They're not doing anything. What does that give hope for our world in the future when they're not even learning the common education that everybody else learned?
And that's the thing too. When you think about it, it goes even so much deeper than that. Their social skills are being crippled. Look at our generation who didn't even really endure COVID as adults. They still have such crippled social skills because of social media and stuff like that. They don't know how to have a conversation like this face to face always, and so they don't know how to do it. So they can either come off like an asshole or like a bitch or like completely awkward and nervous and super shut down. And it's just because they yet when you talk to them through text, they're like, oh yeah, like they
got
like,
so much to say, but then you talk to a person, it's like talking to a wall.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I understand shyness, but everyone uses that as an scapegoat. You're not shy, you just don't know how to talk. You never learned how to talk. Some people are shy. Some people just generally are like reserved. They just don't really know, but it usually shows through their texting too.
And there's a couple of points. Like I'm taking mental notes as you guys are saying things. So, one thing was, you had talked about like society moving on with or without you. I feel like we're finally at that generation where we're moving along with our time. And that's why there's that huge gap and that despair between like us and like our parents and grandparents because they didn't move on with the times. They're stuck in their times.
Right.
We're finally at that point where we're growing up with our times. Like we grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. We're not stuck in that mindset of the 90s and early 2000s.
No.
You know what I mean? We're constantly moving on. Whereas like parents and grandparents, they're still living like it's the 60s and 70s and like even into the 80s and that kind of time period.
Well, usually how that stuff always works is usually once because nobody figured themselves out until they were in their usually 20s.
Yeah.
And that's when they stuck to the way they were. Like your parents graduated high school in the 80s, so they got the 80s mindset.
Yeah.
My parents graduated late 70s. That's their mindset. Your grandparents graduated late 50s, early 60s. That's their freaking mindset because that's when you figure out who you are. And then when you like being who you are, I don't see a problem with staying who you are. Enjoy your life that way if that's the way it makes you happy. I don't think you have to absolutely move with every freaking new thing in time and be exactly on point with everything. Just live your life.
So that still ties into exactly what I said though. Life will either move on with or without you. Without you doesn't necessarily mean bad, but it just means you are choosing to separate yourself from the modern growth of society. You are going to live a more reserved, more isolated life. Yeah. And if that's what you want out of life, that's fine. You can live your life without stepping on anyone's toes, without crossing any lines. But the things that do need to change
don't force your life on somebody else. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Don't ever. And that's like, people need to learn to understand if they're okay with something it's not racist, it's not ignorant, it's not sexist, it's just their way of living. Say, like, for example, someone's just like an older woman's content with being a housewife. She doesn't need to work. Her husband works. It's an older conservative value. She's not hurting anybody. He's not hurting anybody. They don't need to live more extravagantly than what they are content with. Well, you let people live to the limits of what they set for themselves.
Actually, in times of the world now, it's actually getting to the point where it has to go back to the husband works and the mom stays at home. Because do you have any idea, if you have kids, how much it costs to put them in daycare?
Oh, yeah, daycare.
You have to have two jobs. One would just pay for daycare. Then you could save some money and have bills to pay.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So I'm seeing a lot of it with guys that I work with is their wives are staying at home because it's just ridiculous to pay for daycare. They're cheaper off with her staying at home watching the kids.
No, that's what.
And it's just getting to that point in the world again.
There's two more points I wanted to kind of just off what you were talking about before, as far as like the education side of things, with how, like Mike, you said, as far as like the younger generation educating themselves. And I feel like the problem is they're calling educating themselves based off social media. What they see, what this influencer said, what the guy in the suit and tie on Fox News or CNN says, that's not education. That's biased opinion.
Pick up a book, read something.
Yeah.
Like legit sites and sources.
Yeah, whether it's a book, like I educate myself based off professionals in that field. I'm not gonna, or if I'm looking to educate myself on an area, I make sure I do research on the credentials of the person who's giving me that information.
Right.
If they're just some person, it's like, they've been in 20 movies, they're like this and that, whatever their action star. So they're going to talk about like politics. And that's the thing too, like obviously like politics, everybody has their own opinion, but I'm not going to look at like an actor, actress, just anybody who's famous, and look at them as far as their political stance to base my own off of it.
Right.
Well, and there's something to say about that too, actually. Going into like these influencers, actors, actresses, anything like that. And this is not to be insulting of their lifestyles, their culture. They are living a very specialized lifestyle now, to where they can't really entertain or talk to the idea of all the common men. Like, some of them still hold true to those values. There are a lot of people out there who do have outspoken opinions that hit home because they still think like the everyday man or woman. But the thing is, when it comes down to it, some of these people have been in that lifestyle for so long, they're so used to like having different issues. So when they try to talk about something, it just comes off super ignorant sounding, because it's like, well, why are they just stopping? It's like, well, because you don't understand. It's not as simple as you're thinking it can be. And it's like, if you're so divided from society, maybe focus on just doing more of your philanthropy work, putting money into the things you know are global issues, putting more of your time showing awareness versus just trying to talk and having a point and like thinking that means something. Because your word, like, especially if you got the means to change something, why are you not doing it? If you have the means to change something, do it. If you think it's a serious issue and not a single damn person's gonna disagree with you, why don't you take your time and effort and pour it into that if you want to be so opinionated, if you want to help society, instead of fighting for the thing that's controversial, fight for the thing you know everyone will want to see.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like we're constantly fighting diseases. Currently, we're fighting a pandemic. Even if there's a lot of social stigma with that, we're fighting starvation in the world. We're fighting overpopulation in certain countries. We're fighting, literally, certain countries are disappearing. Like there's like a small island that literally, like, I learned this in my global politics class. It's literally sinking. It's not going to sink in the near future, but it's sinking, and the people need to evacuate and relocate. And it's like there are so many other issues in the world and I'm not saying those other issues are not important too. It's just, if you are living a lifestyle where it's like it doesn't really impact you, maybe leave it to the people who are the professionals in that field. Leave it to the people who have spent their life dedicating their efforts to changing that controversial issue and the understanding of it. And like, that's only the major point I just wanted to make on that.
And that's the thing, like you said, as far as like all these issues, it's like it's different in everybody's lives. Obviously, if you have the platform, the following, the influence, the money to make a difference, obviously do it. But don't put more on your plate than you need to. If you're not financially stable, you have family issues, you don't like your job, whatever, you have all these things, don't try to go solve world hunger. Don't try to cure cancer.
Right.
Leave that to people. Leave that, like, how they, like, I don't know. Like, it's, whatever, it's controversial with, like, the whole coronavirus thing, but it, like, irks me the whole, like, we're in this together thing.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not. Because everybody's dealing with it in a different way. There's some places in the world where coronavirus literally existed for a couple weeks and boom, that's it. They've been living normal. They probably aren't even wearing masks. They're back. They're like, oh, everybody go home for 2 weeks. Okay, cool, we're done. And there's some places in the world where there's thousands of people dying every day within whatever it is, a certain area.
Right.
So it's like, you can't say we're all in this together when it's affecting millions, billions of people differently.
Well, I don't think it helps either. And like, I find it funny. I laugh at them sometimes, but we make jokes almost out of everything nowadays. Like, you'll see memes generated out of it and stuff like that.
Like the twisted tea thing?
Yeah. Like
the whole twisted tea.
Yeah,
that's a weapon thing.
Yeah. It's like, it's hilarious to me because, like, dude was being ignorant, got slapped because he's sitting there trying to pick a fight in public.
You didn't just get slapped. You got fucking
rocked.
You got the tea knocked out of him.
That's the thing. It's like, those moments are like, okay, yeah, like, that's kind of like a global, or even if it's only in America, everywhere, honestly, laughing at that, because it's just like, all right, dude gets me. But when it comes down to it, like, maybe instead of instantly jumping on the meme train and the joke train, you like do a little bit of research into the subject too. Like, if you're gonna just joke about it, maybe you should know what you're joking about too.
Right.
And it's like, because like, we are constantly seeing a growth in desensitization. Like, it's almost weird. We're all desensitized until it happens in front of us. A lot of people think they're desensitized because all the shit they see on their screen. They're like, "Oh, I can handle seeing that." No, you can't.
No.
You don't. You couldn't. You will break down. There are a lot of people out there who can, but well, I won't say a lot, but there's the minority who can, if they're put in a bad situation. I'm thankful, like your law enforcement or your EMT stuff like that. They are desensitized because they deal with it all the time and they do what they got to do. But like, just be understanding, like, holy shit, this is a dark situation and stuff like that, and realize that, like, because we kind of made a joke out of our politics this year, and I'm not going to talk about the in-depth concept of politics, but our politics was a joke this year. It was just a big running joke, and it's bad. We should never joke about literally the people running our country and setting the future, not just for us, but for our children and their children. Like, they are going to.
For example, is what it is. It's setting the example that we should disrespect authority.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't have to have authority. We should be able to be whatever. It don't matter. No order, no peace.
That actually makes me want to say one controversial thing. It's not political, but it can become political. Those people out there, like, there have been a lot of horrendous breaches of law and violation by law enforcement officers. But if you are going to instigate, if you're going to sit there and resist what someone is telling you to do, especially if you know you committed a crime, expect there to be repercussions, because on the other side of that is another human being with emotions, feelings, trying to figure out how to.
Well, it's just a simple fact.
Situation.
It's like, say you're a clerk at a store, and you ask this guy for his ID for the cigarettes that he's buying, and he says, "No, I'm old enough for the cigarettes." You go, "No, but legally, I need your ID." Yeah. If you're that clerk, you're gonna get irritated because this guy won't comply to you. That's how the cops feel when you don't comply to them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're going to irritate somebody that's just trying to do their job.
Yeah.
Everybody's out here for a purpose, trying to do the same thing and bring food home to their family. That's what everybody's trying to do.
And again, don't get me wrong. There are those people out there who do grossly misuse their positions they're in. Because, like, let's use the clerk story again. Say, like, the guy gives him an ID, but he doesn't like how the ID looks. He's like, well, I can't take this. Because he just doesn't like the person. They have to take this ID. And it's like, well, why not? I'm just trying to buy cigarettes. Just let me buy my cigarettes. Understanding the key differences here. If you're not willing to comply to a law, you don't get the right to fight it.
Yeah,
but if you are complying to the law, and now the law
is not complying
back, that's when you fight the law. And that's a key misunderstanding with a lot of people. They don't understand. You don't just sit there.
Fight it all the time.
No.
Just for fun.
Yeah, like, there are laws that are not justifiable. But if someone's trying to stop you from being a menace to society, and that's the thing, why do that to yourself? Why would you not want to strive to be better?
Right.
Why would you want to take shortcuts in life? I know, because, like, it's weird to me. It's like, yeah, like, no, like, I won't say cutting corners is necessarily bad, but it's definitely not the option I would take, because it's like, I want to be proud of what I've done. I want to feel that self-worth. Right. I want to feel like I'm doing things and I'm walking the right path. Now, does it mean you have to think inside the box? No, you can be unconventional. You can be, say you're someone like the next Elon Musk or something like that, and you're just not a conventional thinker.
Right.
You don't have to play by the rules, but you don't just outright destroy the infrastructure. You can't just destabilize society because you feel like you are owed it. You can't just sit there and think that the world owes you anything because of the horrible situations that you are in, or think because you're so spurned by society or whatever, and whatever your justifications are, they're not justifications to sit there and just completely destroy everything that's built around us.
Well, that's the thing I think people are missing, is a lot of them just think that somebody or something owes them just because they're alive and breathing.
Yeah. Like
the people that come in the workforce and they want all this money, but they don't want to do anything. Yeah. They don't show up to work every day. They don't nobody's fucking doing anything. They're standing around on their phone. You're hired for a job. He don't fucking owe you nothing until you prove you're worth it.
Yeah.
Everybody's supposed to prove their worth in the world. That's the way it fucking works. You make your way. You don't fucking wait for it to come to you.
Here's one of those concepts that's always pissed me off, and I even fell into it a couple times too. Seniority does not mean you get to work less. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Right. You should not lose your drive just because you made it to a position of comfort where everyone knows you and they like you and they can give you a pass on something. why would you take that?
No,
if you're passionate about what you do.
If you're in seniority at somewhere, you're supposed to be the role model at work where people can look to for questions.
Instead of
you can answer their questions, show them the ropes, show them how to do things, and not just freaking slum on.
And now we've gotten to another key point right here. Because of so many people getting into that seniority position and not leading by example, now we get the guys who come into work who go on their phone because like, well, you did it.
Right.
And it's like, now it's like that never-ending cycle. So this goes for everybody out there. I don't care if you're the CEO of your own company or you bust tables. Like, it's about the character you bring into the work environment. It's about what you want to show to people. It's about what people want to see from you. And if you have a bad boss, that sucks, yeah. But guess what? Don't let that define it. Like, and there gets to a point where, like, if your boss is just too bad, like, and you just know they're not
get another job.
Yeah, get a better job. And then, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't find a job. I can't find a job. Keep looking, keep working, but keep looking. Don't just quit your job.
Quit and then start looking.
Yeah,
you got to keep your job.
And until your job gets threatening to your livelihood to the point where you think you're going to just do something that you will regret the rest of your life, stay there. Stick it out, because then you are only going to create more stress for yourself in the long run by just dropping off. And this is the thing too. It's like, but it's all situational. Everything is very situational, and that's a hard thing about talking to a majority, because you can't just pick up someone, say from, I don't know, let's just be hypothetical. You say you pull someone from China who has grown up on a farm, poor, and then you pull some rich influencer from California, and you sit them at a table, and you have them talk about what means something to them. Those are going to be drastically different answers. And one person might be saying, food that doesn't make me sick, water that's not contaminated. The other person is going to be like, well, all the blessings I've had in life. They could be, if they're a genuine person, all the blessings I've had in life, because some people are, not everyone with money is an asshole. Just all assholes have money. But that's the thing. It's like, you pull that person, they don't understand where this other person came from. You pull someone from, say, one of the worst streets in Detroit or Chicago or wherever you want to, and you just bring all these people together. There's a lot more in common, but there's also a whole different thing about coming up differently like that. And it's like, it's trying to bridge that gap. Understand, like, I don't need to know everything you came from, but I do want to see you be better. Right. And that goes both ways. Mm-hmm. Because just because you have money doesn't mean you're better. Just because you think you have this position you're in now, it's not going to mean jack shit one day. It may not. And that's the thing. The people who understand that tend to be the best people. Because even the ones who have that position, because they know what it's worth to them, they value it. It's not just like, oh, like, I got this. Like, it's like when you can actually value something for what it's worth, it makes your life a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And it makes everyone else appreciate you a lot more, because it's like, all right, this is someone who actually, like, he came from, like, he wants the most out of this.
Majority or not, when I see that, it's usually people that made themselves that.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't start that way.
Because it all starts with self-worth. Right. It all starts with the understanding, and this kind of circles back. Value yourself. Value yourself and what you can do to society, and like what you can bring into society. If you start valuing yourself and thinking to yourself, like, well, I don't want to take the shortcuts. I don't want to steal. I don't want to rob. I don't want to sell drugs. I don't want to break into this lifestyle that I know once I'm fully into, I'll get too comfortable with, or I may just get stuck in. And like the same, it goes for the 9-to-5ers, the people who've been working at McDonald's for like 5 years. Why stop there? Live within your limitations, yes, but when you think you have something more to give, and that's the thing that hurts me, to see someone I know is intelligent, to see someone I know is smarter than the position they're putting themselves in, refusing to go past it, not for any other reason than they just don't know how. Because then it's like, figure out how. Now, like, again, there are those people who are like, no, I've worked at McDonald's for 20 years and I love it. Like, cool, you are a stand-up person. I'd take you any day over someone who literally has a 6-figure job who doesn't give a fuck about it, because you value what you're doing. You think, if you could find even the value, it's like, no, I made someone smile today. I handed the kid a Happy Meal, and the way his eyes lit up made me feel so good. If you can have that self-worth in the things you're doing, then you know you're already in a good place. Or even driving trucks. If you evaluate, you know what you're doing. If you can set yourself up for the why, defining that and understanding it, you're never gonna really hate what you do. You're gonna be frustrated sometimes.
Right.
But you're never gonna hate what you do. And so it's just like self-worth. Focus on it. Build it up. Figure out and don't ever let anyone tell you can't do something if it doesn't sound unreasonable, unethical, or unrealistic. If you're a dreamer, become a person who sets goals. Don't be a dreamer. If you actually want it, stop saying it, do it. Set it up. Even if it takes you the rest of your life. If you're like, I think I have an idea that could change the world, and you talk to a couple people and they're like, no, you are onto something here. Or even if people are like, well, I don't know, man, it's kind of like, even if it's on the fence, like my partner was like, dude, that's already been invented or something like that. It's like, okay, well then, yeah, maybe I can revise it, make it better, make it different. Just find your own thing that you want to pour your effort into. It can be as simple as your kids, just everything becomes a project in life. Pick the projects that you like, because there's going to be some you don't. There's going to be some projects you don't like, and that's okay because you balance it out. And that's what I was talking about. Pursue whatever you want to do. We were talking about dirt bikes, and then we were talking about doing side by sides.
Yeah, off-road racing.
Yeah, so if you do slide into that manager position, do it because that's a new stress you're picking up. So might as well balance it out with something that you enjoy. Right. And it's and a lot of people are like, well, I work 4 jobs. I'm overworked. Even if you take 10 minutes time to breathe for yourself. We were talking about this on the right here.
Yeah.
We were talking about hunting, and because he was telling me, it's honestly, one of the things I love the most about it is just sitting there, and there's not a damn thing around.
Right. It's just the pure silence.
And that's his meditation. You got to remember to meditate. Even everyone thinks well, meditation's stupid. That's meditation right there.
Yeah.
That's a form of prayer right there. That's whatever you want to label it is. It is you removing yourself from all that stress, all the reality you're facing, even if it's only for such a small amount of time, because it gives you that chance to just be in the now in yourself. And it allows you to be like, all right, tomorrow's another day. I got this. Mm-hmm. And you just got to remind yourself that. Those people who self-depreciate, and I've had a problem with this, self-depreciation. Stop doing it. Because when you self-depreciate, it's like, the world's already got enough bullies in it. You don't need to bully yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing. If you can make yourself feel worth something, who can take that from you? Because we came into this world technically alone. We were born, but you don't come unless you're a twin. Then we're a conjoined twin. That's a whole different situation. But say you come into the world alone. You leave the world truly alone, because everything that happens in your world is technically up here. It's in your head.
Right.
No one can fully 100% hold your hand through life. It's up to you to just grab your own hand and tell yourself, I got this. Fuck what people say. I know I'm on the right path. I know what I'm doing with myself. But be open to criticism, constructive criticism. And people need to learn what constructive criticism is, because some people don't know how to say it right. They just sound like assholes. Yeah. And some people are too passive about it. It's no, it's not going to be something that person wants to hear.
Right.
But that person needs to be receptive in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are, they're going to hear it. They're going to get annoyed. But they're going to think about it. And you're but they have a valid point. Because if that person can sit there, and if you sit there and think about what someone is trying to tell you, and you think about it, and you can't think of anything that battles it, you're like, okay, maybe this is something I need to do for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it gets down to, because otherwise, you're going to burn yourself down into the ground. You are going to dig yourself the deepest hole in the world.
Right.
But yeah, I know I kind of went on a little.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think it's kind of a good point to wrap it up there.
Yeah. I'm sweating balls right now.
Yeah, no. It's kind of an episode where we just complained about a lot of shit, but also there's a lot of good points to take away from it. So
yeah, I'm just gonna complain about how fucking hot Collin's house is. Holy Christ.
Simple solution: take your clothes off.
Yeah.
You'll see me.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for watching another episode of MCBC. This was our special guest, Kris.
It was a pleasure. Something I never really did or thought I'd ever do.
You brought up a lot of really good points. So, and that's the thing. It's nice to get an outside perspective into life, because it's not like I said, we don't all think the same. We don't all come from the same place. So that's why I like
it's nice to take in a little bit from everybody.
Yeah. And also, it's just fun to get to vent a little bit too about the
So for sure.
Absolutely.
Kris and his damn daddy issues.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen's daddy issues. Sounds good.
That's our next episode.
We're out.
We're gonna delve deep.